Although it might seem shocking to some of my younger viewers, Batman was not always a shadow-grabbing sociopath who gargled every morning with whiskey and thumbtacks. In fact, before the 80s, people pretty much realised that a man who dresses like a giant bat and goes around beating up clowns might actually be a rather camp figure. Which gave us the classic 1960s TV show Batman, which I know and love. And whilst modern audiences might shudder at the mere mention of its name, it was actually released when The Dark Knight was hardly selling. Without that TV show, Batman would have been cancelled and our world would look very different today. However, I'm beginning to think that DC might be overplaying the Bat card, because he's in everything they've released this year. And no, I'm not being hyperbolic. Everything that DC has released this calendar year, the 50th anniversary of the show no less, be it video game, feature or made-for-TV film, has featured Batman in some way. Which brings us to today's feature, Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders, an animated version of the 1960s show, where there are jokes and humour and colours other than black and grey, and best of all, Adam West and Burt Ward and Julie Newmar reprising their roles. It's just a shame it doesn't work. Let me start with the basics. Having the original cast do the voices of their characters makes sense on paper and gets the fans excited, but in reality, it falls flat. Whilst West has experience in voiceover work, Ward and Newmar do not. And whilst they give it what they can, their lack of experience shows. And even aside from that, there's a disconnect between the characters, who range from college age to middle age, whereas the voices are clearly from people who are significantly older. Especially in Newman's case. She sounds like my grandmother. The animation doesn't really gel either. Instead of their usual style, they seem to have gone with a style that reminds me of the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, but with some CGI thrown in. At times it looks stiff and unnatural, but at least they still managed to get the Biff and Kapows right. The plot's the usual pile of barbleness, with a dynamic duo teaming up to fight Joker, Penguin, the Riddler and Catwoman after they steal a duplicating ray. And since plot was never a big issue in the TV show, I'm prepared to give the film a pass on that point. One thing I did miss was the cliffhangers. Towards the end of every episode, the pair were usually left in some inescapable situation that they then escaped via some ridiculous means, but only being asked by an announcer with an amazing voice how the dynamic duo would escape before telling us to tune in tomorrow, next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Sadly, he's been nixed from this film, which is a shame as it pretty much plays like 3 episodes of a not particularly inspiring cartoon that have been edited together to make a movie. Running time's about right as well, with the film clocking in at a mere 78 minutes. Now, I don't want to give the impression that this is the worst Batman-related film of the year. It's still a tie-up between Dawn of Migraines and Suicide Squad, as there is some stuff that works. It still has the same style of writing as the TV show, some genuinely funny lines and the usual over-the-top gadgets, as well as some okay voice acting. It barrels along well enough and makes sense within its own little world. But I was left feeling unsatisfied. DC animation is usually superb here, but it feels like a misstep. And I don't mean to sound prudish, but I don't remember the original show featuring near constant threats to kill Robin, not that I would have minded, and I certainly don't remember guns being used. What weapons there were usually non-lethal, and the fight seemed more like people flailing around like the set was on fire. This seems much darker and more suited to the animated series than to this one. Like I say, this is probably the best Batman film this year, even though that's not saying much. With a different animation style, professional voice actors playing the lead roles and the original cast as cameos, this might have been a lot better. But as it is, it's if nothing else. If nothing else is on, yeah, check this out. Otherwise, don't bother. But what do you guys think? Have you seen the film? And what's been your favourite incarnation of Batman? Comment below, let me know. I'm Daniel, this has been A Dunking. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe.